Ladies and gentlemen, live from New Orleans at Jewel of the South, welcome to the 15th Annual Spirited Awards at Tales of the Cocktail. Here are your co-hosts, J'Nai Angelle and Ms. Franky Marshall.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to New Orleans and welcome back to Tales of the Cocktail.
We are so excited to have you all here virtually with us, and we are excited to be here in person in New Orleans at one of our favorite cocktail bars, Jewel of the South. I'm J'Nai Angelle, bartender, cocktail educator, and content creator from this beautiful city of New Orleans.
Yes, you are. And I am Ms. Say it with me now. Ms. Franky Marshall, modern bartender, educator from New York City.
That's right. As you can see, we have our favorite cocktails right here in front of us, as well as 10 red envelopes for us to open that we'll be giving out tonight.
That's right. Very, very exciting. And we also have a few special guests here in the garden who've joined us to celebrate these award winners. I wonder who's out there. Do you know? Let's take a peek. Let's take a peek, shall we?
Look at all those wonderful people.
Oh, happy
Hi,
Friday. Look at you.
everyone.
Oh, God.
Thanks for joining us today.
A-list models.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. I can't wait. I can't wait.
We'll be checking in with them throughout the show, but we also hope that wherever you are, whether at home or your local bar, you can first join us in a toast to the accomplishments and perseverance of our industry. So cheers, my girl.
Darling, darling. Actually, I just thought of a great drinking game. Whenever we announce a winner, we have to take a sip.
Oh, that's perfect.
All right, that sounds good to me, too.
Perfect.
All right. Now, there's no doubt that in the past year and a half, well, it's taken a huge toll on our industry, without a doubt. But what it's also done is shown how adaptable and resilient we've become, how creative we can be, even when the circumstances are not ideal, to say the least. You know, and for those of us who are still on the road back, remember that you're not alone. There is a whole community out there ready to support you, and who want to see you succeed in whichever way you define success. So just bravo to everybody. Keep pushing on. And well, while we wait to be fully in person again with everybody here in New Orleans, we're going to be doing the Spirit Awards a little bit differently this year.
That's
right. So differently that we've cut down from the 3-hour extravaganza, and it's going to be about just a little over an hour. So focus, no nodding off, stay with us. All right, it's an hour. Focus.
So we will be back in a few moments to talk about what is to come and walk you through Jewel of the South, our bar turned studio space. But first we want to hear from a familiar face and from some of you to reflect on how our industry is changing and what makes us hopeful and excited as we look forward to being in person together again soon.
Now, in the following video we put together, you'll hear from the overall chair of the Spirited Awards, Madame Charlotte Voisey, as well as see and hear from some of our community around the world.
The Spirited Awards celebrates the cocktail industry of the last calendar year, and for the past 14 years, the Spirited Awards has sought to celebrate excellence in our industry, but also, importantly, acknowledge the ways in which the global community repeatedly comes together to share both knowledge and compassion. 2020 was a difficult year for our industry across the world. We saw bars shut down both temporarily and permanently due to the many implications of the COVID-19 pandemic. When the Spirited Awards Committee first came together earlier this year, it was clearly apparent that our traditional awards format was not appropriate nor possible to consider. We worked on the idea of how to move forward and had months of thoughtful discussion around the best approach to ensure we were using the Spirited Awards platform in the best possible way. And as a result, the committee reached a consensus on the right way to pay homage to this past year, which has been nothing short of transformative. It was our responsibility to take a look at the regional landscape of the industry to capture, recognize, and share how we continue to adapt and change through this global pandemic. We introduced 5 themes: community, digital experiences, drinks culture, industry advocacy, and innovative pivots. We believe these themes represent the innovation and resilience of our community all over the world, and hope that these examples can offer guidance to bars and bartenders still facing challenges. The first theme is around community. Our industry has come together, fortified as a community, finding ways to support each other by sharing education, feeding one another, and supporting each other without being able to welcome people into the 4 walls which constitute our bars.
We had to find a solution to take care of my team and my community. So I started the project called From the Bar to the Farm. We traveled from Cartagena, so the Caribbean coast, to the south of Colombia. So at the farm, we are planting herbs, fruits, vegetables, and the plan is to use it for the bar and the next menu coming in 2021 and 2022.
The second theme is digital experiences. As the world continues to connect people virtually, bars, restaurants, and brands have moved to translating their experiences online. It has been more important than ever to use technology in order to extend experiences and continue to connect and share with each other.
We planned so that as soon as we were able to shut down, we had a strategy in place in order to make sure that we really kept our staff engaged. We started an education program that was weekly with tastings and comparative tastings, a lot of knowledge in order to bring the staff together once a week across all 5 establishments, and also inviting a few other friends from the industry here in Montreal.
The third theme is drinks culture. Drinks culture has evolved tremendously over the past 14 years. During the pandemic, we have watched our advancement in an incubator. There has been incredible regional growth in sustainability, no and low cocktails, and utilizing local resources to lower carbon footprints.
Sans Bar is an alcohol-free space that looks, feels, and almost tastes like any other bar in America. On a busy Friday night, you can find customers at the bar ordering drinks, listening to live music, and just having a good time. It's all about creating that wonderful feeling that you get when you walk into a bar without the alcohol being present. We're not prohibitionists, we're not anti anything, we're pro connection, we're pro community. A bar that offers drinks for everyone is a bar that says everyone is truly welcome no matter what your relationship to alcohol is.
The fourth theme is industry advocacy. We are a community. A community is a unified body of many, and we are grateful to the individuals and organizations who work hard to further our industry by creating equitable and inclusive spaces, sustainable lifestyles, and lobby for improved policies which bolster opportunity and livelihoods. Industry advocacy is the foundation of our growth as a culture and a community across the globe.
Equal measures started really because it became very apparent to me that our industry doesn't really reflect the people that it serves in our society. The goal of equal measures is to have 120 students per year. It's massively important that we ask ourselves, what does inclusion mean to me? What does diversity mean to me? What does equality mean to me? Because only then will we be able to move forward.
And the fifth theme is innovative pivots. Without the courage to change, there cannot be innovation. There is an incredible amount of skill and creativity that comes from innovation. Innovative pivots do not only adapt to circumstance, but set the bar for redefining our craft.
My husband and I, we own a bottling unit and also a distillery. We had to close our factory for a good 45 days because of the lockdown. We were sitting at home and we were missing going out to a bar and having drinks with our friends. We thought, what could be more perfect than getting a product which has cocktails in a bottle? All you need to do is just pop open, pour over a glass of ice. So that's how the entire idea of Mr. Jerry's came up to us. You don't need to get mixers, you don't need to do anything. It's just all at home, and it's as simple as that.
As a community, we are changing what the industry looks like for the future. Each and every individual act collectively pushes us forward. And today we are lucky enough to share with you some stories of people doing just that. So back to you, Miss Franky and J'Nai.
Thank you to all the bar folks around the world for that, and thank you so much, Charlotte. Can I just tell you, the first time I saw Charlotte Voisey was at an industry event, and she was dressed all in white. She looked like an angel. As a matter of fact, I know that Charlotte has wings. She just keeps them locked away in the closet with her tuba. But anyway, I was just in awe, because if I ever tried to bartend in a white dress, I mean, my outfit would look like a Jackson Pollock canvas. I swear, I couldn't do it. So cheers to you, Ms. Voisey. Anyway, so now, if you happen to miss any of those, any of the roundtable discussions, and you'd like to hear how each of those 8 regions have implemented those themes, you can absolutely tune into the Tales of the Cocktail Foundation YouTube channel and catch it there. But now, I would like to turn our attention to the jewel in Jewel's crown, the inimitable, audacious, bodacious, hardly ever loquacious Chris Hanna. Now, this guy is so iconic that, you know, during Mardi Gras and Halloween, parents dress their children up and their small pets up like him. Right? Is that, no, am I joking? There's footage of this. He even has a Facebook page dedicated to as little Chris Hanna, who's actually not that much bigger. He's not that much smaller than this one, by the way. But anyway, Hanna, come out here and join me for a second. This is my friend, head bartender and owner of Jewel in the South, Chris Hanna. Hey. Hanna.
How is everybody? I had no idea you were going to talk about all that.
Darling.
I almost forgot about little Chris Hanna, actually.
Yeah,
it's
well.
Good to see you, though.
It's great to see you, too. So I just wanted to know, how are things since the opening and, the closing and reopening?
You know, it's been interesting. Obviously, a struggle like it's been for everybody. We made a lot of changes, some fun, some not so fun, but from everybody's social media, I see that they've been doing the same. But, you know, the goal is the same here at Jewel. We still want to bring something special to the quarter, something the city's proud of. And so, you know, we're back. We have a really great bar and front of the house staff. We brought our chef back finally 4 months ago. So, you know, we're going to give it a shot.
That's great. Honestly, the bar, for those of you who haven't been here, the bar here is beautiful. And one other change I'd like to point out is, you know, he finally adopted stainless steel jiggers. This guy used to use like plastic all the time, didn't you?
When you make that many French 75s in a day, that's the only one that would work.
Yeah, right.
And
anyway,
they wouldn't make it metal for me.
Welcome to 2021.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Hanna. We'll see you later, huh?
Good to see you.
I love you too. Oh,
you're awesome. Cheers. Thank you.
It's too early in the show to cry. Oh my God. Thank you so much, Hanna. All right, we're going to turn it over to J'Nai in the garden.
Thank you, Miss Franky. I'm over here in Jewel's garden patio. Behind me are some wonderful faces you may recognize from our community. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I'm so excited. We are happy and fortunate that they were able to be here with us in New Orleans this year and celebrate in person. As you all know, Hurricane Ida recently moved through the state of Louisiana and up the eastern seaboard, creating devastating damage. Our bayou communities in the city of New Orleans are still recovering from not only the impacts of COVID, but also the additional impact of this storm. Now I'd like to introduce you to one of the leaders in the New Orleans hospitality community, focusing on equity and visibility through his program Turning Tables, my friend Teray Folks. Hi, Teray.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
How are you?
Good. Oh, thank you so much.
Awesome.
Thank you. So Teray has been on the ground supporting our community through his recovery, sharing. Here he is sharing how you might be able to help.
How you doing? Thank you for having me today. I just wanted to amplify our fund that's currently started in partnership with Another Round, Another Rally and amplified by Tales of the Cocktail. Thank you to all of our supporters so far. As you know, Hurricane Ida has been pretty devastating for this community, and the way that we've been able to support each other is through community. And so our community has come together in such a beautiful way so far to raise over $55,000 with 100 donors. And we've been able to give that and disperse that to over 200 people in the hospitality community. So as you know, the hospitality community of New Orleans is the one that you love, the reason that you come to Tales, the reason you come to New Orleans. So support them in the ways that they really need it right now. Because long after the storm, they're still going to need to recover. So it's really important that we keep it going.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ture. There is still so much work to be done towards recovery. If you are able to help, please visit turningtablesnola.org/Ida-relief to make a donation to support this worthy cause. So now we're going to check in with some of these guests throughout the show, but right now we also wanted to share with you our Spirited Awards map so you can see all the locations across the world that have been participating in Tales and the Spirited Awards this year.
Yeah. So this year, we're excited to be offering the first ever interactive map that features over 900 bars that have been recognized by the Spirited Awards. You can see Jewel down there, for example. And for each bar, you can also look at their past nominations and awards.
That was pretty cool. You know, I'll be definitely using it to plot my national bar tour once it's safe to be together again, because your girl is ready to travel and see all of the friends, okay?
Okay.
Now let's get to some awards.
So each year at the Spirited Awards, we honor those in our industry that bring us compelling stories, much needed knowledge, and innovative trends within our industry via the Writing and Media Awards. Now, all of these scribes are accomplished storytellers in our community, and we often look to them to get an overview of the state of our industry.
Absolutely. To be a good writer, you also need to be a great observer. You need to be able to look at the world around you and help others interpret its meaning and significance.
So this year, we thought we would take the time to not only honor and recognize the winners of our 5 writing and media categories, but also ask them to discuss this past year and get their take on how the pandemic and lockdown has changed the industry and get their thoughts on how they see the industry moving forward.
Yes. Throughout tonight's program, we will be revealing the winners of these 5 awards and then taking a moment to reflect on the state of the industry and community with each individual.
First up, we'd like to announce the winner of the Best Broadcast, Podcast, or Online Video Series. Let's open the envelope.
This year's winner is Life Behind Bars with Noah Rothbaum and David Wondrich. Congratulations.
Woo!
Here are a few words from Noah and David.
Right in March of 2020, just like the rest of the world, we sort of had no idea what was going on. For a couple of weeks, we paused. We weren't sure, like, if life behind bars was relevant in this new pandemic world. Did people want to listen to it still?
But at the same time, we realized that this was obviously a problem everywhere. We brought an extraordinary stream of bartenders on, especially over the first 4 or 5 months of COVID, and had some pretty searching conversations. It was helpful, I think, for people, and it was what people needed. And it helped us to see that the industry was not going to disappear completely, that there are creative people who figure out coping strategies. Gave me a little bit of hope for the future. It was sobering, for sure.
In the spring of 2020, we realized that we could help people by bringing on bartenders who were going through this and industry resources and really show what heroic efforts were taking place on a daily basis just for bars to remain open. And I think a lot of people outside the industry who listen to the podcast hopefully had a better appreciation for the sacrifice and the work and the heroism that was taking place. Bartenders and bar owners were going to work every day and kind of keeping
the wheels on, you know?
Yeah, keeping the wheel and keeping some shred of normalcy for people's life.
Wow. Congratulations, gents. Yeah. You know, it's funny. You know, sometimes in partnerships, there's a good guy and a bad guy. Well, with those two, it's kind of like just 2 good guys. So I think that one of them needs to open up their inner mean girl on the other one. You know what I mean? Just to raise ratings or something. And also maybe they should form a band. Do you know that Wondrich actually plays bass? Yeah, he does. And yeah, so they could form a band, I don't know, for middle-aged, middle-income folks, kind of a 2-car garage band, if you will. I think we'll call it the Frailly Beasts, right? Hey. Frailly Beasts.
Very novel idea.
Just a thought. No charge for that, by the way, guys. That's free. That's free consulting for you. All right.
Now we would like to present this year's illustrious Pioneer Award.
That's right. The Pioneer Award recognizes an individual who has committed to making the industry, our hospitality industry, an equitable and inclusive space by breaking down barriers pertaining to identity, gender identity, race, religion, socioeconomic status. It also emphasizes pushing boundaries and, most importantly, encouraging and supporting others through mentorship and leadership.
Yeah. This award was originally given out at the Dame Hall of Fame, which celebrates women who made outstanding contributions in the global hospitality industry. In 2020, the Spirited Awards integrated the Pioneer Award into its ceremony, making this only the second year it's been included. To announce this year's Pioneer Award recipient, we would like to hand it over to last year's recipient of this award, author of Tiki, Modern Tropical Cocktails, a book I personally love to reference, Shannon Mustafer.
Thank you, J'Nai and Ms. Franky, for sharing a history of the Pioneer Award. It is now my great honor to announce that this year's Pioneer Award recipient is Chris Cabrera. Chris has had a strong voice and been a fighter all their life. A fighter for themselves, for others, for anyone whose voice remained unheard. Chris never shied away from advocating for the basic human rights of race, gender, and identity equality. Growing up Mexican American in California, Chris rarely saw any positive public representations for who they are. Rather than accept that prejudice, Chris stood up and fought for themselves and others and hasn't looked back since. Chris's progression from bartender to brand ambassador for Grey Goose to Bacardi's first LGBTQ plus brand ambassador happened organically, but not by chance. Bars have always been a hub for social change, a place where neighborhoods can gather to discuss their shared unrest for injustices in their communities and for locals to gather and advocate. Chris is no stranger to advocacy. Chris has used their voice to expand these safe spaces. Even outside of bars, Chris's advocacy can be seen at seminars where they often teach the history of LGBTQ plus community, a history that's not taught at schools. As a brand ambassador for Grey Goose, Chris focused specifically on supporting LGBTQ plus community. During the worst of the pandemic, Chris and Grey Goose supported a relief program to get food to anyone in need. Chris has used their place to amplify and acknowledge minority groups. Through podcasts, seminars, zines, and interviews, Chris talks about the work they have done as an LGBTQ plus activist and the work you can do to create an inclusive space for all. Chris brings to light the issues we see every day and has used their voice to show the industry can be a more inclusive space. Their past, present, and future leadership as an LGBTQ plus activist within the bar industry serves as a model for any voice who believes they are not heard loud enough. Thank you, Chris, for all you have done and continue to do. Your voice in the bar community is paramount to our progression as an industry. Congratulations on your award. And with that, here are a few words from Chris.
Thank you, Tales of the Cocktail. To begin, I wouldn't be standing before you without the support, love, and encouragement from my tribe. You know who you are. I also want to personally thank JB Mandeville, Pam Mostacero, and Colin Appia for being my sounding board and biggest cheerleaders, as well as my voice of reason when I get super impassioned on a subject or issue. But most of all, thank you for your mentorship. Diversity and inclusion are not just programs or initiatives. They're required skills that must be woven into the fabric of our industry. Therefore, I want to take a moment to thank Heidi Vargas for understanding that to work authentically with an underrepresented community, you need someone from that community leading the way. Thank you, Heidi, for making sure we have a seat at the table. I am proud to work for a company like Bacardi with you at the helm. And of course, thank you to my fiance, Ash Hauserman. You are my best friend, my partner, my person. You bring out the very best in me and challenge me every day to be the best version of myself. I love you, and I like you. Authenticity is necessary, and it is powerful. As the first LGBTQ ambassador, I proudly celebrate my community by giving those within it the resources and platform to shine and succeed as our most authentic selves. To our allies, we're all learning how to navigate in new spaces. I implore you not to give up. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's how we learn. That's how we move forward. I challenge you to be uncomfortable in your space and give yourself the opportunity to grow. But please remember, although your queer and Black and brown friends are happy to help you in your learning, it isn't their job to educate you. Take the initiative, do the work. Just do what I do when I have a question. Google it. Changing the way things have always been done will not happen overnight. We must continue to speak up, set boundaries, say no when something feels unjust. Never stop demanding a seat at the table. Be kind to one another. And always be unapologetically ourselves. One of my dearest friends says I like to end on a quote, and I don't want to disappoint her. So I will leave you with the words of one of our great LGBTQ+ leaders who fought for our visibility, our representation, and our rights. My personal hero, Mother Marsha P. Johnson. She said, "You never completely have your rights, one person, until you all have your rights." I am so honored to receive this recognition from my peers and colleagues. Thank you.
Yeah, amazing. And right after that, guess what? Guess who's here in our garden house? Let's go over and have a little word. Chris, darling. How are you feeling after that?
Amazing. Just humbled and honored to be representing my community, all of them that I belong to, the Indigenous, Latinx, and LGBTQ community.
Well, congratulations so much, and thank you for doing such wonderful work. And can I tell you, the first time we met was in France, isn't that right?
Yes, it was.
That's right, darling.
Yes.
And you actually promised to take me on a tour of Sonoma. And don't think that just because you're all engaged now, hi Ash, that we're not going to do it. I was thinking it'll just be the three of us. It'll be really romantic. We'll have adjoining rooms.
Yes, let's do all of that.
All right.
Yes.
All right. We're on it. Well, all right, darlings. Let's go back. Take it, J'Nai.
Thank you, Frankie. Congratulations again, Chris. Yes.
Hold on a second. I want to have a toast. Let's stand up again. Let's have a toast. Toast to Chris. Everybody, santé. Cheers. Congratulations. You're welcome. Okay, as you were. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you, Miss Frankie. We would now like to announce the winner of the award for Best Cocktail and Spirits Writing. Let's go ahead and open the envelope. And the winner is The Myth of the Peaceful Plantation by Wayne Curtis, Half Full. Congratulations, Wayne. All right, here are a few words from Wayne.
20 years ago, when I first started dabbling in some of this spirits writing, there were basically just two stories you could write that were how to make great drinks and great drinks I have made. And I think this year it's wonderful to see among the 10 semifinalists a lot more interest in social issues. I had to make a big switch when I was covering the industry in March 2020. I remember I was walking along the Mississippi River, and it occurred to me that my life was going to change very much. Instead of writing about cocktails and how they were made, I was going to be writing about the industry and how it was being impacted by COVID and the closures. I think there's a difference between hospitality and community, and sometimes it gets conflated. Hospitality is, there's a set relationship between host and guest, and there's some expectations set with that. Community, it's more open, it's more fluid, and there aren't any real distinct barriers or ranks there. So the bartenders have got the backs of their guests, they're watching out for them, and the guests have got to watch out for the bartenders. I think we saw that certainly in March 2020 when things started shutting down, and the guests, the customers, the regulars also rallied around, but doing what they could to support the bars. I think it really showed that the community was there and the community was strong, and it helped get us through all of this. So I thank all the bartenders for everything you've done, all your hospitality, all your friendship, and the community that you've helped create.
Thank you, and congratulations, Wayne. You know what? Some of you might not know this, but Wayne is actually quite a good dancer. We had we had a night at Bullets Uptown with the Education Committee, and I could best describe his dancing style as kind of a river dance thing, but with a little swagger. So I want to call it like a Mississippi river dance. Okay. You know, it was kind of try this with me. It was kind of like something like this. You know what I mean? But maybe a little bit more up top. Yeah. So Wayne, this one's for you. Yeah. Okay. That was the Wayne Curtis Mississippi River Dance there.
I'm into it. Sounds like a fun time. I hope I'm invited next time.
Yeah, I think you make the cut.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Now onto the Timeless Awards. Every year we award a Timeless U.S. Award and a Timeless International Award. An establishment that receives this honor is an institution within its respective city and region, providing a unique and timeless experience for everyone that enters their doors.
These bars and restaurants are examples of outstanding hospitality and inspire all of us to do greater work. And their influence often can be seen and felt in the hospitality community all around them and further afield.
Yeah. This is actually only our third year ever giving out the Timeless Awards. So let's start with the Timeless U.S. Awards. I think it's time we open this envelope and see who the winner is. What do you think?
I say yes. Let's see what's inside. And the winner of the Timeless American and also the American Timeless Award is Tommy's Mexican Restaurant in San Francisco. Congratulations, felicitaciones to Julio Bermejo, todo el equipo, the folks at Tommy's. Here's a little video to tell you a little bit more about this industry-changing establishment.
Yes. Cheers.
Vamos!
If you're in San Francisco, you have to go to Tommy's. It's an institution in the true sense of the word.
I don't advertise. There's no billboard. I'm not on Instagram. I'm not paying anybody.
Tommy's is a movement.
I guarantee I can send you in there, be you a hardcore trade person or just interested civilian, and you will come away saying, that is an incredible bar.
We are a Mexican restaurant and tequila bar.
You're walking into a restaurant that doesn't look particularly special. It looks like a mom and pop kind of place, which is basically what it is. Then you go over to the left by the kitchen and go into this tiny little cramped space, floor to ceiling bottles of tequila. There's a TV in there showing sport.
It's not fancy. It's not pretentious. Yet we are experts in our field.
Guaranteed, if Julio's working there, he will see you, immediately greet you, and probably introduce you to everybody else in the bar within seconds.
My parents started Tommy's in 1965. Our entire family, this is our life. We spend the majority of our time at the restaurant. My mother, who's 86, still comes to work every single day. We lost my father about 11 years ago, but his presence is still felt to this day. The guests we get at Tommy's, I'd like to consider as my family. Anyone can come, feel comfortable, can afford to come.
Any given night when you walk into Tommy's, you can be sure that there will be local families, probably people from the local bar scene. The restaurant has gained so much notoriety. People from all over the world come now too.
It is the place to go to enjoy tequila and to be educated about tequila because, of course, it's the man who set up the Agave Appreciation Society that pretty much was the blueprint for most spirit societies around the world.
I wanted to learn about tequila because, for very selfish reasons, that it made me feel good. I just thought that if it made me feel good, it'll probably make other people feel good.
Julio has been a transformative force in the industry.
When I tried 100% agave, I just said, wow, why do I want to drink mixtos or regular tequilas? This is where it's at.
He really was pushing the boundaries and saying that 100% agave did matter.
Over 20 years ago, I decided to go to the source, go talk to the people that make it, visit distilleries, see what's going on in the industry firsthand.
Having spent time with Julio in Mexico, you get treated differently. You don't get the PR woman taking you around. You get the master distiller. You get the person in charge of the barrel program. People, they stand up straight when Julio walks into the room.
Julio has inspired so many people. It's hard to quantify his impact, but everybody understands that agave spirits would not hold the position that they do at this point without him.
He's known all over the world. He's a true legend. We use that word too often, but he's a legend.
Tommy's today is quite well known for, among other things, the Tommy's Margarita.
The Tommy's Margarita is a true global modern classic.
The Tommy's Margarita was an evolutionary cocktail that came about from learning more about tequila, learning more about agave, and wanting to deliver a margarita that tasted of the tequila that our guests ordered.
Very simply, tequila, fresh lime, and agave nectar.
The advent and introduction of agave to me allowed me to use that sweetener to then balance the acid I was using.
The agave nectar, which is obviously related to the product that the tequila is made from, and the fresh lime juice.
Seedless Persian lime juice.
All comes together in a simple, accessible, credible drink that will truly stand the test of time.
We predate the quote-unquote skinny margarita by at least 20 years.
Everyone, whether you like tequila or not, can quite happily sit there and drink a Tommy's Margarita. And that's an incredible thing.
Tommy's has seemingly become more than a Mexican restaurant and more than the premier tequila bar in the world.
56 years in the San Francisco industry, and not being in the center of town, not relying on tourists, but instead helping spread the word, one drink at a time, one guest at a time. The best way of really providing hospitality.
What I would love is to know that the culture that is so proudly on display in Tommy's lives, forever.
The greatest evidence of success is if our guests continue to come back, right? If you do good work, profit comes, repeat business comes, and longevity comes.
It was so great. It was great to see and hear Julio. And can I just tell you, I've actually never been to Tommy's. I know. But however, I can attest to Julio's hospitality because we did have a wonderful night we ran into each other in Tokyo. And I absolutely, and it's so true what Angus said about people standing up extra straight when he walked into the room, because that absolutely happened when we were on our tour of Golden Guy. And he always made sure that my drink was full. You know what I mean? Nice. And yeah, so the hospitality, I have no doubt that Tommy's is exactly that American classic, that timeless classic. So I can't wait to go there.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah. Now on to the recipient of the award for Best New Cocktail or Bartending Book. Time to open another envelope. And the winner is... Suspense.
Ándale.
The winner is Drinking French, the iconic cocktails, aperitifs, and cafe traditions of France with 160 recipes by David Leibovitz. And now let's hear from David. Cheers.
I discovered that there is this amazing culture of drinks in France and in French culture that hadn't been explored. And I was so interested in it, from cafe drinks to cocktails, that I just had to write this book. I decided, if I'm gonna write this book about France and how all these spirits, I need to go visit all these producers. So I spent about 1.5 years traveling around France, learning how cognac is made, Armagnac, all these iconic French spirits. And I wanted to include them in this book because they're not just something in a bottle. Each bottle tells the history of France. It's the story of France. It was really important for me to meet the people and to get to know them in the cocktail and bar community because I wanted to use their knowledge. I wanted to learn from them because people in the cocktail industry, you know, you're behind the bar, you're grabbing the bottles, you're holding these things. And bartenders were actually incredibly welcoming and wonderful to me. A lot of them said, why don't you come behind the bar? I'll show you this. And I had some really incredible people helping me. These experts took their time to talk to me. And that's why I think the Tales of the Cocktail Foundation is so important because it brings all these people together.
Thank you, David. You know, I really enjoyed watching all of your food and cocktail tutorials on Instagram throughout the last year. They were equally inspirational and mouthwatering.
And you know, I've never actually met David, which is the only excuse I'll accept for him not asking me for a recipe for the book. Hello, drinking French. Hello.
Gotcha. And now we're going to announce the recipient of the International Timeless Award. This award is given to an establishment outside of the U.S. and like the American Timeless Award is selected by a renowned committee of authorities on the drinks industry.
We honor this bar for truly being a classic timeless space for its guests, offering a unique experience that really just can't be had anywhere else in the world. So without further ado, let's open the envelope and see who this year's recipient is.
Yes, let's.
And the winner of the International Timeless Award is dun, 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 Duke's Bar in London.
Yes,
woo, woohoo! Congratulations to Duke's. Let's take a look at what makes Duke's a timeless bar. Andiamo.
Cheers.
Oh yeah, cheers.
There's no a place like here, Duke's. Whenever you come to London, you must go to the Duke's. You go first to the Duke's and then you go to see the Big Ben. That's the relationship that Duke's has with London.
Duke's Bar is in the middle of the area called St. James's, but it's always been slightly hidden away.
It's not somewhere you walk and you see us. You have to know where we are. You need to go down in St. James's, you turn right, and then there is a little courtyard. You step into the hotel, you turn on the right, and you are in this magical place.
It's not stuffy, it's fun. It's almost bordering on the mischievous, in fact. It's a small bar. It's not easy to get in there, but it's hugely influential. Duke's Hotel was built in 1908, so the Victorians had gone, they were in the past now. Edwardians were having more fun. It was really about conversation and everything else.
In the old days, not many people knew about this bar because it was patronized by people in politics and people in the military.
Yes, there may be people from the palace in one corner and there may be artists in another, and it's quite likely a couple of bartenders from Tokyo. So you could meet anybody there. It's a fantastic mix.
We don't do this nonsense of celebrity. Everybody's a celebrity here.
Of course, one of the famous visitors was Ian Fleming, the guy who wrote the James Bond novels. There's this wonderful line of Bond saying he wants his martini shaken, not stirred. Dukes have got that down to a T because they don't shake, they don't stir. They bring a trolley along and they make it in front of you with great ceremony and theatre.
Duke's Bar was the first bar in the world to actually serve the martini in this way. We push the trolley in front of you by your table. We make the different type of martini in front of you. Not only to show you, not only to maybe introduce something you never tried before, but also to have a relation. It's quite exceptional. You have the bartender in front of you with a white jacket, with a smart personality. They make your day the best day of your life.
It hits all the cues of a martini. It's strong and it's cold. And the way they do it, it's delicious.
It's one of the most good value because in a frozen glass, we put the bespoke and vermouth. Then there's 5 shots of 120 ml of either gin or vodka, but we only use premium brand. And then we finish with organic lemon directly from Amalfi. So we were the first one to use Amalfi lemon.
So in the glass you have the essence of the gin or the vodka with the lemon twist and lots of good soul.
One of the big attractions at Duke's Bar is Alessandro Bellezzi. He is a character, to put it mildly. He's Italian. I think all the crew there are Italian. And he is absolutely passionate about that bar. Always polite, always making top-class drinks, but just breaks any pompous atmosphere that might be around.
Yes, it's a place where you go, yes, for cocktail, but also because of the treatment that you receive. It's quite exceptional.
One thing they can learn from us is how to respect the ingredients. You know, people say to me, which is your favorite gin? I always say the one you like. There's so many very good gin. So then we start to introduce more smaller producer. The best gin doesn't have to come from London. The best wine doesn't have to come from Italy. It's from where people have a passion. When people can make a fantastic spirit, why not?
Definitely Duke's is a little bit of the core of spreading the love and the passion for our profession, which is not only sitting in the glass, but is in the atmosphere around it.
It's a wonderful, wonderful atmosphere. It's what bar is all about, civilized. Here you feel like you are at home, away from home. That's what we want, the feeling we want to give.
Duke's Bar is right at the top of the tree in terms of London cocktails and the fashion of London bars. It's not only timeless, it has that really difficult to achieve combination of being both timeless and contemporary at the same time.
Congratulations again, Dukes. You know, I'll never forget my first experience at Duke's Bar, sipping on an ice-cold Navy-strength gin martini and luxuriating in that moment. And luckily, I just happened to be staying upstairs at the hotel too, so I was able to slide down a few other times. It was really great. Nice. So now we're going to introduce the recipient for the award for the best publication. Now, this category honors outstanding journalism from magazines, newspapers, and online media that features all things beverage.
Yes, whether they write about bars, bartenders, or cocktails, this award recognizes all the journalists who communicate drinks culture to the public. Let's open another envelope.
Please, please, please.
Want to do the honors?
And that's right, applause before we even get to it. I love this crowd. You guys are great. We love New Orleans. Yes. And the winner is Imbibe. Congratulations. Now we have a message from Penelope Bass, Imbibe's senior editor.
We tried to present a realistic picture of how this was affecting the people who work in this industry on a day-to-day basis. And I mean, I think this past year especially, it was really easy to feel isolated, even if we were collectively going through a lot of the same things. So part of what we could do as journalists is to share these stories that help people realize they're not alone in what they're experiencing. And then on the other hand, it's also our job to highlight that this pandemic did not affect everyone equally, and that millions of people were left with no safety net due to the systemically flawed structure of how this industry operates. We realized that we were now documenting a moment that would reshape the industry on a massive scale. We were really fortunate this past year to bring on some amazing new writers that brought different perspectives to the magazine, or perspectives that we were lacking. And I think it's a matter of continuing to question how we're presenting our information, and not just us telling the story, but who are we allowing to tell the stories? Who are we giving the platform to?
Thank you, Penelope. You know, I really enjoyed her Drink of the Week series. I'm always learning something new from her suggestions. Now we would like to introduce the Helen David Lifetime Achievement Award. This award is given to individuals who have made outstanding contributions in the hospitality industry over the course of their career. An innovator, a leader, this person serves as a source of inspiration and a guide for the path to success in the drinks community.
The award was named after a woman, a bartender who ran her family business, the Brass Rail Bar in Port Huron, Michigan, from 1937 to 2006.
Wow.
With this Helen David Lifetime Achievement Award, we remember Helen, her work, and honor those who've followed in her footsteps of quality cocktails and hospitality.
Yes. I think I'm ready to see who the winner of this award is. How about you?
Yes!
Yes.
Let's open the envelope and take a look.
My dear.
And the winner of the Helen David Lifetime Achievement Award are, yes, I said are, that's plural.
There's two.
And what I meant by that was Jared Brown and Anastasia Miller.
Woo! Congratulations.
Yes, applause. And I'm so excited that these two are winning because I get one of my first industry awards, gin related again. They were there presenting, and the chemistry that these two have together, they're not only knowledgeable, but it's like they have a flair for the dramatic. I wouldn't know anything about that, but they don't miss a beat. It's really incredible.
That's amazing. It's good to have that kind of partnership.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Well, congratulations to Jared Brown and Anastasia Miller again. We thank you both for the outstanding work you are doing and have been doing in the hospitality industry. Here to introduce Anastasia and Jared is a fellow industry luminary and close personal friend of theirs, Robert Hess.
I would also like to wish heartfelt congratulations to Jared and Anastasia on winning the Helen David Lifetime Achievement Award. Having enjoyed a close personal friendship with them for almost 25 years now, I've had the privilege of witnessing firsthand the growing buzz of many of their current achievements. I simply can't imagine any two people who collectively have done more for our community spanning across so many different disciplines. Together and apart, they have made a myriad of foundational contributions on a number of different levels within the drinks industry. Their bodies of work are incredibly vast and wide-spanning as drink historians, archival consultants, educational curators, master distillers, authors, publishers, and as award-winning bar owners. The fundamental impact that they have had on our global community over the decades cannot be overstated. They launched their first website, Shaken Not Stirred, a celebration of the martini, in 1995. Let that settle in for a moment. 1995, the same year that Amazon and eBay were launched. They turned this into their first cocktail book by the same name the following year and is still in print to this day. They have organized and participated in countless educational programs for bar shows and bartender events, not only in the US, but throughout the world. Today, from a quiet cottage in the English countryside that dates back to the 1500s, they continue to further their work. Jared as the Master Distiller for Sipsmith Gin, Anastasia with a double Master's in History and English, finishing up her PhD thesis at Oxford on the British brewing trade from the 15th to 18th century. In their spare time, they are partners in two bars, the Dark Horse Bar in Bath and Crying Wolf in Bristol. Whether they are researching 15th century drink or rotovaping verbena from their garden, one thing is clear. They are happiest with a debate in one hand and a toast in the other. Now it's our turn to celebrate them with a toast.
Go to a bar anywhere in the world, and if you say, "Do you know Anastasia and Jared?" they will drop their shaker, look at you, turn their head, and say, "Oh my God, Anastasia and Jared." They are the biggest names in the spirits world.
I would describe them truly as like a Renaissance couple. They can cook, they can present, they can teach, they've written books. They are unequivocally members of the royal family of the global drinks industry. Jared and Anastasia's relationship is really quite unique. They're a tour de force.
They are natural soulmates. They're just this incredible partnership in work, life, and love.
Anastasia and J'Nai just know how to engage an audience unlike anyone else. And on stage, they just come to life.
I've seen them on stage, they can clash and sparks fly, and I think it's just part of the brilliance and joy and theatre that comes with J'Nai and Anastasia as they sort of debate dates or the origins of a specific cocktail. It is absolutely the most eye-opening, jaw-dropping, wondrous, memorable experience that you'll have.
They're known all over the world as unrivaled educators. And I love that curiosity and I love that willingness to dig deeper than anyone's dug before and find out the real detail and truth behind our industry.
J'Nai and Anastasia have an incredibly dynamic, collaborative process, and one that isn't just about them. I think one of the amazing things about them is the ability to invite people under the tent and to make them feel like they're part of sort of like this mad science experiment.
I mean, who can honestly say that they published 20, 30 books in their lifetime? And so many have been really inspiring. They've gone back in history, they've dusted off the history books, they've republished some of the Savoy cocktail books, the key books on Cuban cocktails, my personal favorite on Spirituous Journey. They've done one recently on vermouths and aperitifs, let alone shaken, not stirred.
You really see them working together to tell a story. For example, Anastasia might put together all the facts, the information, and then J'Nai embellishes that, helps turn it into an even deeper and richer story.
One of us has humor, one of us has facts. You put the two together, you actually end up with something.
It's sort of the science and the art coming together in this yin and this yang. It's just stunning.
It's incredible to see J'Nai create a gin from scratch.
We were actually in search of a master distiller, and all names and compasses pointed actually towards J'Nai, singularly the greatest master distiller a brand like ours could have been blessed with.
Sipsmith is this fantastic balance of tradition, but then pioneering and forward-looking in terms of the flavors and the recipes. That's a real distiller.
Anastasia and J'Nai have really created a roadmap for the future of the spirits industry. Their life has been put into the spirits world in a way that's incredibly influential, not only in the history of what they've uncovered, but also in what they've made and the people that they've inspired.
With the knowledge that these guys have and their capacity to call on it at the click of a finger, it is hard not to be inspired by that. And how humble they are with it is truly inspiring, not just for those in the industry, but for those people considering getting into the industry.
They put out into the world some sort of energy that makes everybody feel connected and meshed together. It makes you feel important. It makes you feel special. They elevate us up to our best selves.
There's nothing that either of us does that isn't better when we do it together.
He's a genius. He is caring. He is sensitive. He is passionate about everything he does. How can I not adore a man who puts that much effort into everything he does?
She is wonderfully powerful. She embraces the strength of her genius, but she wields it very gently, very compassionately.
Besides being a bloody genius, he's goddamn cute. He just makes me absolutely giddy. Can't help it.
She's a beautiful human. She's a phenomenal human. She's my favorite human.
Clearly, Anastasia and J'Nai are dedicated both to their craft and to our community. I can't think of two more deserving people to be honored with this award. Congratulations, Anastasia and J'Nai.
Lifetime Achievement Award. I'm still in awe.
A what? A what?
Lifetime Achievement.
Us?
Yeah.
Really?
Hey.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Robert, for the introduction. Wait a minute. Every single time he says this, I still don't get it yet. It still hasn't sunken in. Wow. Wow. Okay. Helen David Lifetime Achievement Award. Right. Thank you, Tales of the Cocktail. I mean, really, thank you. Thank you, the committee who voted us in. Wow.
Can't tell you how much we miss all of you, how much we'd love to be there with you together. We miss New Orleans
We
so
could have
much.
had a great party for this one. Well, we'll make up for it. when
Oh,
we see
remember
it.
that first Tales of the Cocktail? What was it? 6 of us in the carousel bar at the Monteleone.
We were,
something under 200 attendees.
Yeah, and we also did like each one of us hosted a dinner at a classic restaurant in the French Quarter. It was great.
Yeah, that was. But we've got a lot of thank yous to say for this.
Boy, do we.
As it is a lifetime of them.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Dale DeGraw, for 1990 saying to me, hey, you want to see how to flame a twist? I did.
Peter Dorelli, thank you for giving me my first grown-up martini at the Savoy, my first grown-up bar experience. Oh, I can't tell you. Thank you.
Kevin Settles at the Bartending in Boise, Idaho. Thank you so much for inviting us to come in with you and make gin.
Albert Montserrat, the world thanks you. We thank you for walking into our bar in New York and showing us how to throw a drink.
Actually,
Thank
that
you
was
so
a
much.
nightclub.
It was a nightclub, wasn't it?
It was a
Wasn't just
four-story,
regular- Okay,
750
sorry. I'm
capacity
sorry. Big, little big. I don't
Our
care.
little bar.
A little bar.
Yeah.
It was a little bar. It's okay. It's
Hey,
okay.
Thank you, Ephraim Keelis, for getting us involved in that.
Yeah, exactly.
And to Henry Besant Dreymosso for convincing us that it was time to move to England.
Yeah, that was monumental because then, thank you, César Giron and Eric Fossard. That was the most wonderful 3 years in southern France, refurbishing a museum of wine and spirits and just seeping in and learning as much as we could about drink. It was fantastic.
We also wrote Spiritist Journey, A History of Drink.
Yes.
The beginnings of it on
Yes,
that island.
why we're on the island, we actually did.
But thank you, Ueno-san, Kishi-sama,
Arigato gozaimasu.
for your beautiful hospitality.
Great food and a lot of fun in between times.
Yes. Thank you, Nick Blacknell, Sean Harrison, and the master Desmond Payne for giving us a chance to delve deep into the history of both Plymouth and London dry gins.
John Gakuru, the late Maria Pribble, Mamie Sanchez, Miranda Richardson, thank you for letting us dig into other spirits aside from gin. We had a ball. It was wonderful.
Thanks, Salmon Fairfax at Sipsmith. You are the best, and at times most patient partners a guy could ever ask for. And thank you, Albert, Price, Greg, and the rest of the Beam Centauri team for believing in our dream to bring gin back.
Louis Xavier Lewis Smith and the entire Dark Horse team in Bath, thank you for restoring my faith in humanity. Taking from scratch an idea and making it into a bar and actually seeing it grow up over the past, I think it's 6 years now, and watching it bloom into something wonderful, a great concept. And even through pandemic, we survived it and we're still going. Yeah.
Thank you, Ryan Silbert, for all those long hours, late nights, early mornings, and our vodka years in Norway, Sweden, New York, and for being a great travel and drinking companion for 2 decades since.
Just 2 decades. We'll keep going. Don't worry.
Most importantly, I want to thank the person who has really made me who I am today, who's been my partner, my wife, over 3 decades now. So, thank you.
Thank you for being my closest friend. The one person I can trust in this entire world and the best person I've ever argued with about history that I ever will know.
Wait, us? Argue?
Yes.
But thank you, all of you in the hospitality industry. Thank you for being part of this wonderful, diverse, and inclusive family around the world. Thank you for continuing to give us a chance to give back to the industry. But wow.
Wow.
Lifetime achievement.
Wow. Yeah.
That life went by quick.
Well, we're not done yet.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah,
Cheers
really.
to that.
Okay, cheers to that. We'll keep
And cheers to all of you.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations again to Anastasia and Jared.
Yes, congratulations.
Now, we're about to announce the winner of the award for the best new book on drinks culture, history, or spirits. So let's go ahead and open up this envelope. Unless you guys want to wait. I mean, you know, we got all night, really.
I can put it away.
I mean, okay, that was a thing. All right, let's go.
All right, and the award for the best new book on drink culture, history, or spirits goes to Spirits of Latin America by Ivy Mix and Javis Carpenter. Congratulations.
Spirits of Latin America was published in May of 2020. So we were about 3 months in to the coronavirus pandemic. So I didn't have a book tour. People may never go to Bolivia and visit a Singani distillery, but if they can read about it, perhaps when they drink some Singani, they can be transported and have that experience. Writing a book or even making a cocktail, any kind of artistic form of creation, I think really brings people together, particularly food and drink. I wanted to show people that there's so much more out there, so many interesting flavors, so much history and culture that can be experienced through these spirits. Within the last year and a half of COVID, I've been really amazed and impressed by the tenacity of the cocktail and spirits industry. I think hospitality has turned into kind of a reverse structure, actually. When we were first able to open up again, I remember some regulars coming in, and they came in even though it was freezing and even though it was scary. And I remember this realization that the hospitality directional had changed and had actually come back to us and to Leyenda. Every bar, every restaurant should be a pillar of its community, and community is a place where you go to learn and to be supported.
Thank you so much, Ivy. You know, last year I had this crazy idea to do a class for Speed Rack Academy called Cocktails and Trap Music. And not only did Ivy and the Speed Rack team let me do it, the class actually sold out. And I was able to teach it 2 more times in the future. So thank you, Ivy, for believing in me.
Wow. And well, here's someone with us now to say a few words. Is the co-chair of Tales of the Cocktail Foundation, and someone I always think about whenever I think about trap music, and that is Neil Bodenheimer.
Thank you, Miss Frankie and J'Nai. It's wonderful to be with you, both with you guys here today, and the rest of the guests we have at Jewel of the South, and all of you joining us from home. There is an incredible amount of effort that goes into the Spirited Awards each year. I'd like to thank the 260 Spirited Awards committee members and judges and the internal team at Tales of the Cocktail Foundation for all of their time, hard work, and dedication to maintaining the level of excellence that the Spirited Awards represents. As Charlotte mentioned at the top of the show, it was truly a process of passion and sensitivity to find a thoughtful way to move forward with the Spirited Awards this year. We, as an industry, are going through a significant time. We are finding ways to continue our craft, reopen our bars, recover from natural disasters, and cultivate our communities on a local and global level. Both the Foundation's Board of Directors and myself personally would like to acknowledge the industry luminaries, friends, and colleagues we have lost over the past year, as well as the bars that we have seen close all over the world. Through this, we have come together. Our hope is that Tales can continue to be a place where people can connect with each other and find the resources they need to sustain, become stronger, and continue to push the industry forward together. Thank you for joining us, because there is no Tales without you. Back to you, J'Nai and Frankie.
Yes.
Thank you, Trapmaster Neil. Now, we have a special announcement from Mr. Jacob Briers, the Spirit Awards International Chair, coming to us from London. Now, he's coming to us from London, but, Jacob is actually from New Zealand. Okay. And in fact, I think that he and Lord of the Rings are the best things that have ever come out of that place, honestly. No, seriously, this guy's so talented. He's got his finger in so many pies. Between us, I hear he calls himself Lord of the Things. Oh. Lord of all the things. Cute.
Thank you, J'Nai and Ms. Franky, and hello, everyone. In a year that has already been tough for so many, we unfortunately had to deal with another great loss this year with the news last month of Douglas Ankrah's passing. Douglas Ankrah was a bartender, a businessman, an author, a force of nature. He was a proud father and a loyal friend. His sudden passing came as a shock to many of us, and he will be dearly missed. The pain of his passing will soften, but his memory will live on. One of the ways that we thought fitting to honour that memory was to do something that we haven't done before, which is to award 2 Lifetime Achievement Awards this year. Douglas's impact on our industry and his achievements were so great and so widely influential that we felt he was a worthy recipient of the Helen David Lifetime Achievement Award. Today we want to recognise his extraordinary achievements as a man who leaves behind a legacy of great and wildly popular cocktails, pioneering bars, and above all, a generation of bartenders who he trained and mentored to go on and have their own extraordinary and thriving careers in this amazing industry. To help explain the many achievements and the impact of Douglas, I want to introduce a close friend of his, Colin Asari Appiah.
Thank you, Jacob. Doug and I met at college together as teenagers, where we bonded over our Ghanaian heritage and our love for the hospitality industry. Doug started as a barback at Hard Rock Cafe, and like most of us, he entered the industry by mistake. He went on to work at other venues such as Smolensky's and Planet Hollywood. He took the knowledge he had acquired and took over the helm at the iconic Dick's Bar at Atlantic, where we used to go and drink with him often. From here, Doug went on to create the London Academy of Bartending with myself, Richard Hargroves, Andrew Chansing, and Alex Turner. It was one of the very first training schools that taught contemporary cocktails to bartenders who wanted to treat it as a serious career, and was used as a conduit for spirits brands who wished to communicate with the operators of the new era of style bars in London town. The success of the bar school led Doug, Rich, and Alex to found Lab Bar in London Soho, which was backed by a good friend, Philip Gousson. The bar and its drinks were widely imitated even by people who had never been there. Douglas's bar became the unofficial meeting place for the drinks industry, whether based in London or from further afield. If you wanted to meet anyone in the business in those days, your best bet was to go and have a drink at the Lab. In this way, his legacy is almost beyond measure. Douglas alumni went on to become bar owners, brand ambassadors, and even brand owners, taking the gospel of modern cocktails and bartending as a career around the world. Myself, Jamie Terrell, John Kakuru, Dimi Lazinska, Dre Masso, Andrea Montague, Jack Hubbard, Jamie Gordon, and Jamie Evans, Bex Armfitz, Ross Simon, Tim Stones, and many more. If you went to a bar training in the UK or Europe, even in the early noughts, there was a strong chance that Doug had trained some of those people. Doug was a pioneer in taking cocktail training and consultancy to the world, often beyond the obvious cocktail capitals. For example, Lab in Cape Town in South Africa shaped the way people drank cocktails on the African continent. He also trained bartenders in Asia, elevating the nascent bar scenes there. Doug was a visionary in the cocktail business with a clear vision of how he wanted to monetize his most famous creation, the Porn Star Martini. Douglas was always ahead of the trend. We stand on the shoulders of giants, and Doug, we all stand on your shoulders, brother. Thank you for inspiring and challenging us to take this industry to the next level. We'll carry on the torch. Now here are a few words from some other people that knew him well.
Douglas was one of the most driven people I have ever had the pleasure of meeting.
Doug is an utterly unique character.
His mind was bubbling over with creativity and ideas. Every single time you spoke to him, you knew that not only was he focused on you, he was focused on 15 different weird and wonderful things, and it was like a Willy Wonka's playground in his mind.
He had an energy about him and a determination that things were going to be big, buzzy, brilliant. And that went back from bars, it went through to when he had brands. He just was a complete force of nature.
He was a larger than life character.
He was 100% himself. He marched to the beat of his own drum.
A really interesting, complex individual.
Douglas is best known for those times in Soho and the incredible legacy that came from Lab Bar.
There was no other bar like that at the time, like not even close to being like that at the time.
Lab stands for London Academy of Bartenders. Not only was it an awesome cocktail bar, Douglas had set Lab up to educate not just bartenders, but consumers alike.
Lab Bar was just the most fun and the most wild.
It wasn't a gay bar, it wasn't a straight bar, it was a bar for everyone. Everyone was welcome, and it was a party every night of the week.
Everyone was so proud to work there, and everyone knew that they were working for somewhere really special.
The mark that Lab has left on the global bartending community is unmatched. You only need to look at the ex-team members of Lab and see what they're all up to these days. They are changing what's possible with a cocktail.
Lab Bar was an enormous influence on the London cocktail scene. Townhouse opened in 2002, I think it was.
Townhouse certainly had a refinement that Soho didn't require.
Townhouse was like a little bit more fabulous.
It was a stunning little bar in Knightsbridge. It was tight in there, you know, it was small, but it was really pretty. The drinks were amazing, and the bar team was one of the best bar teams I've ever had the pleasure of sitting across a bar from.
Those drinks that came out of there that became famous, and I think we probably all know which the most famous was, but really visible, naughty names, really fun. They were the point at which consumers kind of thought, cocktails are really, really fun. This is a really fun night out.
He was a visionary. He saw something that no one else did or could, and he brought it to life.
You cannot say Douglas's name without immediately thinking of the Porn Star Martini.
The genius of the Porn Star Martini was it appealed to everyone. It is fruity, it's easy drinking, it's that pick-me-up. It's also got this theatre, and if you know Doug and any of the drinks that he created, there was always a theatre to them.
It was lots of vanilla sugar, lots of passion fruit puree, vanilla vodka, and that was shaken up and served straight up in a cocktail glass with a side shot of sparkling wine or Prosecco. The garnish was a half of a passion fruit cut side up, floating in the cocktail glass, more vanilla sugar, just to be extra sure, sprinkled on the top.
And initially you'd serve it with a little spoon and a passion fruit, right? So you had this trifecta of experiences all wrapped up really nicely in this neat little bow that was called a Porn Star Martini.
It's delicious, it's fun, it's a bit silly.
A huge amount of Doug's genius in the creation of the Porn Star Martini is the name. Nothing will stop you kind of scrolling through a menu like the word porn star.
Guys would come to the bar and say, hey, I'd like 4 porn stars, please. And women would come to the bar and go, hey, I'd like a porn star, please.
It is brilliant on every level.
What is not to love about a bright orange drink in a coupette and a little tiny, tiny glass of champagne? There's nothing not to like about that. And I'm sure that is something to do with the legacy of the drink.
The fact that the Porn Star Martini exists and it is the drink that it is not because of the drink itself, it's because of the man behind it.
What Douglas has given our industry is so much more than 2 bars, a book and a famous cocktail. He proved that determination, hard work, graft, care pays off.
He did it with completely, totally being himself, not conforming, not polishing himself to be this person that everyone expected. He did it completely on his own terms.
Doug's influence is huge. His work supports hundreds of thousands of bartenders around the world, whether they understand or realize that themselves.
You know, to leave a legacy behind, that's what we're all trying to do, right?
Thank you, John, Andrea, and Hannah. Thank you again, Doug, for inspiring us and pushing us to be the best versions of ourselves. And thank you again for introducing me to my wife, Louisa. Back to you, J'Nai and Miss Franky.
Thank you, Colin. It is amazing to see all of the lives that Douglas was able to touch. He will be greatly missed.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of meeting Mr. Ankrah, thank you to Cocktail Colin, when he was a guest for one of our USBG monthly meeting interview series. And it was wonderful to be able to introduce him to some American bartenders who previously weren't familiar with his achievements and his life's work. So he was very, very generous with his knowledge, and we always really appreciated that. So. And so as we're coming closer to the close of today's program, we wanted to welcome the CEO. That's right. We wanted to welcome Tales of the Cocktail Foundation CEO Eileen Wayner to say a few words. Wayner's World, party time, excellent, take it! Yes!
Wow, when we started planning for this year's event in January, it was so hard to imagine Tales of the Cocktail and the Spirited Awards as a hybrid program. There are so many intricacies about these events in our industry that prioritize human connection, so we knew we needed to create that sense of community digitally, but also we wanted to safely gather. And here we are. And it has been phenomenal to be able to share these programs, industry accomplishments, and events on a global scale. We hope that many of you were able to meet safely across the world at one of the pop-ups brought to you by our wonderful and generous partners. And don't forget that if you missed anything this week, you can visit or revisit this year's programming on the Tales of the Cocktail Foundation YouTube channel. Thank you to all of our moderators, panelists, committee members, Tales staff, and sponsors for making this year possible. The 19th Annual Tales of the Cocktail and 15th Annual Spirited Awards are coming to an end, and we are so pleased to have shared them with you. Thank you so much for tuning in. But before I turn it over back to our fabulous co-hosts, I am so thrilled to invite you all back to New Orleans in July for the 20th Annual Tales of the Cocktail at our new host hotel, the Ritz-Carlton. We cannot wait for you all to join us. Let the countdown begin.
Well, that is a wrap, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for the 15th Annual Tales of the Cocktail Spirited Awards at the lovely and welcoming Jewel of the South here in New Orleans. Yes. We had a great time celebrating with you all tonight. I hope y'all had one too.
Yes, the two of us are going to join our friends here in the garden and continue the festivities, probably on the tables. And we hope you continue to celebrate wherever you are.
And as Eileen said, we hope to see you back here in person next year. Until then, stay safe and stay strong.
And you know what? I could actually use one more drink. So Hannah, another round.
Yes.
See you next year, everybody. Woo!